Mm. Oh my goodness, there. I'm slowly having a drink on my coat just before we go live. Good old job, Cash. Let's just check we are live. I'm so bad at the start of every stream on a Monday night live. I really am. It drives me crazy. But tonight we're going to go over a whole bunch of topics. We really are. Obviously, we're going to talk about what's happened over the weekend with Forest, Man United, a little bit of Bournemouth. Well, not a little bit of Bournemouth, Manchester City, but that's going to bring into my sort of Goldbridge rant explaining because I listened to a little. So just after the second half, I clicked on his stream and I listened to a little bit, and he was talking. Sup, buddy? Just set up early today. No, I think it's because the time zone difference has gone. In the UK, the clocks went back a couple of weeks ago, and I just don't think everyone else goes back until like November or something. I think that's what it really is. But I was set up to show everyone that I was going live. I'm going to try to do that more often. I had so many problems with this stream last week, and it sort of cut out. And because I'm going through OBS, then it over to YouTube, it wasn't letting me start the stream in OBS. So I was starting a live stream over in YouTube, and then what's up, buddy? And then trying to get it rolling. So hopefully I'll be able to do that every week, so you can see the streams coming up a couple of hours beforehand. So yeah, we'll be ready. But yeah, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about. As I said, I was watching Goldbridge. I caught like I don't know, just after second half. It's about 50 minutes into his stream. No, maybe 50 minutes on the game clock. I think not into his stream. And he was talking about so much idiotic stuff in football. But I get why he was saying it. He's completely and utterly wrong. He doesn't understand football coaching in any way, or how to build football teams, or what you do to win football games. So I have to call that out because that's a bit of a long one. And what he was saying, I'll get into it, but primarily it's one of the age-old things about changing your team's tactics and not changing your team's tactics. And if he doesn't understand, which he doesn't, about why you don't change your team's tactics, he doesn't understand huge, vast arrays of football. Most people don't get that, because they haven't worked in, actually ran a team or done things like that before. And we are going to address that quite a bit today. But also, the amount of referee decisions, I had to bring this because, it was in the Man United West Ham game, where the ball out of play, that's out of play, and this is in play. And the referee decisions week in, week out in the Premier League just are getting worse and worse. It's every single week now we see stuff that's blatantly wrong, where touching the ball and taking out the player doesn't mean it's still not a penalty. But apparently, modern football, they're absolutely rubbish. I'm going to address that Big Angie's high line. It's going to be after get a couple of bits out of the way. I'm going to start getting into it because it's real deep coaching philosophies and mentalities of understanding what's going on in football. And you won't hear it. You won't hear it anywhere else because no one else actually knows what the hell they're talking about. What it requires to build a team and what it requires to win a cup, what it requires to be in the top four or win the league. It's very, very different things. And people just don't think like they just don't know. And they just say stuff that the average fan will go, oh, yeah, you should have set your team up differently because you're playing Man City and you want to. No, then you don't understand what's going on in football. Like, you just don't get it. When you're making, and he went on this tirade about Bournemouth being second in the league, and if you want to maintain, no, they won't maintain. If they chop and change, they won't keep where they are in the league. And you have to explain all of that and why that's so important, so people can actually understand it instead of just saying, you're wrong, Goldbridge and Burger, you're wrong. Explain why, which I'll do. Excuse me, guys, I've got such a dry throat today. Such a dry throat, as I'm having a bit of a swig on my coat. I still can't believe that the referee decisions and the Premier League is now saying that if you touch a ball and you take a player out, it's not a penalty. But you didn't have possession of the ball. You poked it away from him. You didn't really tackle him. And you can't really take it. Like, if you did that tackle in the midfield, they'd book you for it. But now they're saying, no. It doesn't matter because, new rules. And I don't know how you feel as well. It's almost getting unwatchable where every sort of game there seems to be some sort of decision, and it always flips the game as well. It's not like a decision that doesn't matter. Like the the goal United scored from the corner, that corner shouldn't have been a corner. And we have VAR to look back and say, yep, that ball wasn't out of bounds, shouldn't be a corner. Give them a goal kick because you made a mistake, ref, and we play on. If we're not doing that, then what's the point of VAR? VAR only ever seems to overturn penalty decisions for certain clubs and certain teams that they decided to do, not actual things that they get wrong in the game, like the ball's out of play. And I did read an interesting quote. Oh, mate, I did too much driving today and my leg's done. Like, yeah. I'm going to have to go and find out if I've actually broken my ankle because it's getting to the point now, 5 weeks in. Yeah, I'm going to find out my ankle was broken and they're going to have to re-break it to heal because it didn't heal properly. I guarantee that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I can already tell. But this problem, what was my rant about? What was I talking about? VAR. Oh, you completely sidetracked me, buddy. DC, damn you. No. The decisions in VAR. It's absolutely, to me, it's getting absurd where this decision particularly, this one's important because it goes back to like a Newcastle Arsenal game, I think maybe 2 years ago. And I heard a quote back then that somebody else repeated now, trying to make it their own because people lie. And the quote was brilliant. If the ref can't see it and the linesman can't see it, they're just guessing. And if you're going to have people just guessing, then what's the point? We've got VAR for a reason. We've got those things there for a purpose. And they don't use it properly. If we're just guessing now at football games, I don't know what the world's coming. Like, okay, so you can guess on that one, but you're not allowed to guess on the other one. What? And it makes no logical sense that they say this stuff and no one calls them out on it. Like, as I said, the amount of bad refereeing decisions is escalating the hatred towards referees, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. But yeah. Oh, I did want to. There's a couple other little points I wanted to address actually as well. I wanted to address AI in football, but I might save it for a video. The World Cup, Japan versus Spain. Same thing happened. But they got a decision right. Yeah, there's been so many decisions where like they know that, like they know. I can tell you probably 99 times out of 100 if the ball's out of play or not, with hardly looking at it, just because of experience. And if you're telling me these Premier League referees don't have the same level of experience, well, why are they Premier League referees then? You have to ask yourself that. And if they do know, and they're not doing it right, then that's a whole nother level of discussion that you want to talk about. Maybe we should look at the NBA and the FBI's probe into, betting in the NBA. Oh, no, who said that? No. Yeah, there's a massive thing I want to talk about in the AI and football. Well, it's a little bit more than just statistics, okay? So there's huge data models out there. So when you do stuff like proper high-end statistic analysis that I do and things like that, it's a lot of AI-driven nonsense. XG, for example, is an AI-driven nonsense, all right? XG is okay as a tool, but it's not something that you want to really look at and go, oh, okay, we're doing well here with XG. But the problem with AI is it's going to get to the point within a year or two, I can put down a model with using it, this is me, with AI, run down a computer simulation, and then also run it like, oh, have you ever seen what's his name? Doctor Strange does that thing in the Marvel and he looks at 1 million billion outcomes and there's only one that they win. Yeah, that'll happen soon in football, where they're going to know where the goals can be conceded from against the team they're playing against, and stop most of those permutations and know the most likely places for them to score against. Now, it's already there to a massive effect with data analytics and the stuff that I do. I can already tell you where goals are going to get scored from. But it's going to come to another level. It's going to get to the point where they're picking players on AI data models and not actually what players do. It's going to get weird. I have a feeling it's going to get really weird. And there's going to be a whole... That's why I want to put a video out there and talk about it. So I'm not, like normal, I'm one of the first ones out there telling everybody what's going to happen before it happens, and then go, told you so. it's going to get really weird, because one thing that the AI can't sort of address for is emotions, because it doesn't have any, because AI is not real. They're just language learning models. There's no such thing as AI in the public domain. It's all nonsense. And if you don't believe me, Amazon had a shop in San Francisco that was run on AI. No, it wasn't. Amazon said it was run on AI, and people were walking in and taking stuffs off, and it was giving it to their Amazon account and checking out and all that nonsense. No, it wasn't. They had over like 27,000 cameras in there, and they had 1,000+ employees over in India watching what everyone was doing, matching up the person to their account and what they were buying, and it's all done manually. But why they talk about AI and stuff like that is because it drives their share price up, because it's the new buzzwords. So the more that they say that this is a real thing and it's not, it drives up the share price. And what you really have is language learning models. It's just an advanced Google search. It's predicting what the next line is based on all the other lines that there's ever been written. That's what AI is at the moment. And you can get into the stuff from like 2016 and Geordie Rose and that sort of stuff with D-Wave quantum computing. Yeah, but we're going to get access to that. AI is such a buzzword. Yeah, everyone throws AI into everything. Okay, so I make my thumbnails and I do my stuff in Canva, and Canva's like, we can help you AI generate images. Yeah, you could do that in bloody Coral Draw and stuff back in 1998. It was rubbish, and every image it made was bad, but it could guess and make you little images, and every now and again it got one right. All they've done is make that a little bit better over 25 years. Well, okay. I had a stand-up comedian explain only about 6 months ago how there's no such thing as AI. All right? He goes, I'm deeply into computers. This is a stand-up comedian. I've been in computers since I was a kid. I know everything about computers. That's what I do. And I try to get AI to run a program to stop me getting spam emails. And AI can't stop spam emails. So if you're telling me there's a such thing as artificial intelligence and it can't stop spam emails, there's no such thing. It's a great point. Why have we still got spam emails if that's the thing, right? Yeah. It's all just that's why, by the way, inside source, that's why Elon Musk bought whatchamadoodle, Twitter, because he needed language learning models. And Twitter's the most engaged social media platform there is. So he used that to train his AI, because AI is just trained on language. That's what it was all about. Twitter, it wasn't for him to control Twitter. It was for him to control AI. Oh, let's get back on football, shall we? Otherwise, Cash will start telling things that he shouldn't be telling. And right, let's just talk a little bit about Newcastle before I get into my Goldenberg and Beamerstein. I think Newcastle are in trouble. I don't think Newcastle are making top 4 this season, maybe not even top 6. And this happens every single time Newcastle make the Champions League. I said it last time before they made the Champions League again. And they don't have strength and depth in squad to compete in Europe. They just don't. And this is the classic example of a team that overachieves and then underachieves because they've achieved. It's those teams that go into Europe, as I explained, Disneyland of Europe. If you were there listening to a couple of live streams ago, when I was explaining the emotional, toll it takes you playing in Europe, because you're at Disneyland again, and what it does to the league, your league form, they just don't have enough strength and depth to doing it. And the problem they've got is, after this international break, we're going to get into the silly season of Christmas. And if you start looking at the league table, you can already see a pattern happening. We're probably going to be a third of the way through the season, and you're going to see the likes of Wolves just fired their manager. We should talk about that. Forest, West Ham, Leeds, Burnley, and I think Luton. Luton are down there. Fulham. I'm thinking Luton. I'm thinking Fulham. They're all down there at the bottom, and you can see that they're the people, and Everton, because they're always down there. They're going to be the ones fighting for that relegation, in that relegation zone. They're going to be the ones that are going to get dragged down. But then if you look at that little next bit, the next team will be Newcastle. And they'll have to go people like Crystal Palace, which they're not going to do. The Bournemouths of the world, the Sunderlands of the world, they're not going to do. Brighton and Hove Albion, they're not going to get above Brentford. the point gap is already getting a little bit too much. And that means Newcastle will have to start winning and beating everybody. But that means they're on form to win the Premier League then. I mean, how are they going to climb their way up from the amount of points they've lost? It's going to be really difficult for Newcastle to get back up into any sort of standard, place where they can do anything this season. It's going to be interesting to watch Newcastle's demise. I have a feeling they're going to get rid of Eddie Howe. Because you can already tell the media narrative, right? Because I've heard it so much over the last sort of 3 weeks. When I say this, you're going to go, ooh, I've heard that, Cash. Eddie Howe is the best England manager. Eddie Howe's the best England manager. What? Is he? Maybe, but why are you telling everyone Eddie Howe is the best English manager? Ever since Wolves changed from orange to yellow, they've become terrible. Wolves have got some issues. Wolves' problem is they sold all their best players, and then they wonder why that they can't. They struggled to not go down last year. And then, we'll sell our best players. Have a guess what's going to happen to you now? Oh, are you going to be worse than you were? Bingo! You can't do that when you're a bottom side. You can't do that and expect to actually stay up in the Premier League. To me, it's madness. Like, you sell your top striker. They sold that guy to Chelsea, who I think is really good. Neto, is it? And one guy to Man United. And you're going like, well, your best players are gone. What are you going to do? Oh, you heard what with Jack Grealish? Oh, he's the best English talent or something. Yeah, it's funny that they start pushing and saying, oh, he's the best of so-and-so just before he comes to a fall. You can almost see them like they're going to fire him and they're setting him up for his next job. It's like, oh, the media's already like going, oh, Eddie Howe's the best ever. Maybe he should take England job after Thomas Tuchel. Like, so, Newcastle are underperforming and you can feel that they're going to fire him by the end of the season if it continues to go. That's what you can see happening. Well, that's what I can see happening. But, yeah. I only want to talk about Bournemouth, and I should have had Man City here as well, but I don't. Oh, let's just put Bournemouth there. Right. We're going to lead into our golden... actually, let's just get rid of him. Lead into our golden Stein rant, because this is complicated. This is the understanding of football, which he does not have. Okay? He's got some understanding, not of this. He hasn't got a clue. If I put this kiddie in charge of a cup team, he'd probably win a cup. If you put him in charge of a team to win a league, he'd get relegated. Okay? It'd be harsh on Eddie Howe to be sacked. I know. Don't disagree. The thing with Eddie Howe, though, is like you have to perform. It's all about results. And this is one of the most important understandings, like with Eddie Howe, with Wolves, what I'm going to talk about Goldbridge and Steiner Bridge here. It's really important. And I've worked with coaches all over the world, and I'd say probably 10 coaches understand this. Okay, so I don't blame Goldbridge for not knowing it, because how would he? Right? The difference of building a team and winning a football game is massive. He was talking about the Bournemouth Manchester City game, and he was going on a bit of a rant about why would Bournemouth come to Manchester City and play open football? That's my Goldbridge impression, brother. Open football, and then they're second in the league, and they should be trying to not lose. Goldbridge also managed. Yeah, he could be. Oh, yeah, I'd have him manage a charity game every single day of the week. It'd be better than me managing a charity game. I'll tell you that right now. But football coaching or actually building a team, he wouldn't have a clue. I'd run circles around him. Yeah. And this is the difference what I'm coming to. There's lots of managers that can coach games. Okay. What do we mean by that? Right, they can come in, they can coach a game. Look at Martin O'Neill's just gone to Celtic, coached a couple games, he's doing great. There's a difference between coaching games and building a football team. Bournemouth are trying to build a football team. You can see that. That's what Nuno was doing with Forest. He was building a football team. Okay, he's installing a culture in a football team. And he gives examples like Barcelona. No, look what Barcelona do. They don't change the way they play because they're the best. No, it isn't because they're the best. That isn't why they don't change the way they play. It's the same as Ajax. They don't change the way they play. Okay, it's because they've got an ingrained system inside of the club that doesn't change. This is what we've done for the last 20 years, and we're going to do it for the next 20 years because they weren't always playing that way in that style. And that's the importance about building a culture and building a team, because Man United don't have a culture and they don't have a football team, right? All they've got is new managers coming in, trying to win a game. What was that Ollie at the wheel clown guy? He'd win you a game or two. He'd win tough games. But because he wasn't building a team, he would always, always, always end up losing. Because what you do is you're sticking your fingers in a dam that's bursting if you're not building a football team. And that's why the likes of Bournemouth will go to play at Manchester City and they're trying to build their football team and they're not going to change. It's like Postecoglou, he knew what he's doing. He just got it wrong. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was saying all the right things. Just the sports media don't understand it because they're idiots. His team ended up losing confidence in him. And when they were listening to him, and he did have his players, he was sitting top of the Premier League for the first, 8 games or whatever it was, 10 games. That's the difference in real football coaching. And it takes a time. Now, there's another problem with, well, there's more problems than just that. So when you're talking about real football coaching and you're actually trying to build a team, there's this other huge aspect of it where you have to win football games. Because you can't win football games. If you don't, you won't stay in a job. So you've got this double-edged sword where you want to play your system and play the way and then slowly integrate players and stuff that you want. But at the same time, you're fighting for your job. Cuban at Barcelona, when he replied, relying on crosses and headers. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. When you're looking at it, you're trying to build a team and you don't know how or where that team is going to be built correctly because you haven't challenged your team in the right environments. So what's the right environments? You don't know if going away to Man City or not, that your team and your structure, the players you've got, are capable of beating them inside of your system because you haven't challenged them with your system yet. If you change your system to sit in tight and try to get somebody on the counter-attack, you don't know whether or not your system is valid or not. You don't know whether or not when you're trying to build this team, and also there's a different caveat there when you're trying to build a team. So let's talk about Nicolas Arteta. He hasn't won a Premier League, but he's built his team. You know he's challenging now. It's taken him years, and he's been building and building and building and building and building and building, and you can see it. That's what happens when you leave a manager to start ingraining his team with a system, all of his players, getting in new players, embedding the new players in, and going forward and building and building and building and building a team. If you're just having a coach come in because you're Nottingham Forest and he's Nuno and he sets it up and he does a thing, and then you fire him and you get in an Ange, well, you've got to give Ange at least a year and a half, 2 years to implement this system. It takes 3 years to implement a system in a football team. 3 years. Because you have players that can't play it, players that don't understand it, and they're all ingrained in what the last coach was doing. You've got to get rid of all of that and put in your system. And until you've done that, you don't know whether or not your system is going to win or lose. And however, if you're changing it week in, week out, because you're worried about playing City away or Arsenal at home or any of this other stuff, every time you change your game plan, it means your system is wrong. The players will now know that you don't believe in your system. The players aren't playing in the system, so they're not learning it because it takes forever to get it right. And you're setting yourself back. So now you're a team that's basically isn't building a foundation to build on. You're not building a rock solid, team and system that you can add new players to build and move forward. All you are is a team that's packing it in tight, trying not to lose, and maybe get a goal if you can. It's not how it works. If I have to change my system, then it's useless. Yeah, Jose Mourinho. Yeah, exactly. And remember, you don't know whether or not your system is wrong or the players are wrong until they've been put into that test yet. You can go and go, right, my right back isn't right. It's not the system. He's just not getting what's going on the field. Sorry, you can hear my voice gets croaky as I'm going on. And that's hugely, hugely important. If you're changing your system, there's so many things wrong with what you're doing as a coach. Now, however, remember, there's a caveat. There's always a caveat in football coaching. If you've been coaching for 3 years, or maybe 2, and your team is in the system, and now you're in the Champions League and you're playing Real Madrid, and to beat Real Madrid to get to the final, you might want to play defensively. Guess what you're doing? You're playing defensively to beat Barcelona or and that's one of the problems with football coaching and footballs. It's not absolute. Every single thing that you say, you will contradict in the next game because things change. So this is my ideal. This is what I want to do. I want to play my system. I've got to do it this way. This is how I want to play. This is going to be a thing. And then what you do is you change it over time. The real problem with like Ruben Amorim and Ange Postecoglou is there's a balance between the two. And this is why I was good as a coach. I wanted to get to my system, but I needed to win football games. So I could find ways of cheating inside of the football game for me to win it, but not compromise my system. Right? Or what I would do if someone wasn't playing it like, so I'm playing my system, but I'll have maybe 2 or 3 other players that I know I'm not going to use long term, and I couldn't care less. Okay, you aren't going to play in my system next year, so if I've got to use you to do a different job in this game that we're never going to do again, it's ruining you as a footballer. I don't care. It's tough. You should have listened to me in the first place. And that's what a lot of coaches will do as well. And you'll see that player will be really useful for a season, and they'll go, why did they get rid of him? Well, he wasn't exactly doing what he wanted to do. Yeah, the dark arts. It's very important in football. Very important. Like, you've noticed as well at United with the amount of players that they had that wouldn't listen, the Garnachos and the Rashfords, that basically compromise everything. Everything goes out the window because they won't listen and they won't play the way that the coach needs to play to build a club. Remember, and that's the difference which Goldenberger being this team doesn't understand. To build a club that's going to compete, not just this year, not just next year, the year after and the year after, you have to build a solid system. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Oh, there's another one. Who was it? They ruined him. He was a winger for United. Antonio Valencia, great winger. They put him as a right back for a couple of games because United had so much control they could afford to put the right winger at the right back and have him deliver there. Then he ended up being a right back and he never was, and his career's over. Doof, gone, thrown away. Classic example. Yeah, there's loads of players that's happened to. Absolutely loads. They put him in to fill a job for a little bit, and then he's gone from his actual strength of beating people with pace down the wing. Was it Valencia? I don't know. You'll be able to tell me, DC. You'll know. But it's really, really important. All that stuff's really important if you want to build a team and a foundation. Takes a long time, and also one of the things in football is players learn from their mistakes. They can't learn from mistakes. Rashford performing well. His peeve. Yeah. Oh yeah. Rashford's a funny one. I wouldn't have him in my team. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Doesn't Barcelona play Chelsea soon? Isn't that Wednesday? Or is it next week? I think it's next week. It might be next week. Yeah, it might be next week. And this difference between, by the way, how to build a football team and be able to compete, not just this season, next season as well, and the season after, is something that most of these football pundits and people don't get, because all they think is see in their eye is what the league table is today and what they want by the end of the season. And that's not how you build a football team. You have to ask yourself a question. Am I going to win the league? No. Okay, done. Am I going to get relegated? No. Okay, done. Where am I now? Right, so I'm not going to win the league. I'm not going to get relegated. So I need to build a step to get 2 positions higher than I did last year. That's all you need to do. Two positions higher than I did last year, and then we can build and we'll get 2 positions higher than we did last year, and then we get ourselves in the fight. And when you start getting yourself in the fight, you have a solid foundation to get Champions League every year. Look at Eddie Howe, who we were just talking about. He's got a solid team, but he doesn't have a solid squad. So he's built a good team, good system, but he hasn't kept building it. He hasn't kept building the squad. So now, when he gets to the Champions League, he can't compete in the Champions League and the league anymore. What should he change his system of play? No. He needs to keep building. He's built the 1 system of play. He's built 2. His first 11. Now he needs to flush out the squad. That's the difference. It was a great right back. Yeah, Valencia. Yeah, curse of being too versatile. It wasn't too versatile. It was just that they put Ferguson put him in a position and then he just got left there. Yeah, perfect. Crystal Palace, building, just keeping your team, building. That's how you end up becoming a solid football team. Now remember, There's different levels in being able to do that as well. You've got club history and finances and resources where someone can jump a bit, right? If you're looking at a Palace, if you're looking at a Bournemouth or a Forest, and Forest will yell at me for saying history. No one's really saying history. What they're really saying is club finances. So if Forest were where were Manchester United last year, think about this. Forest had this fantastic season, got there, and if that was Manchester United, they would have bought in 4 players. Each one would be worth 70 to 100 million. That's what they would have done. And then they would have pushed on, and this year they'd be pushing for the Champions League. That's what would have happened if that was Manchester United. Forest can't do that. So what they have to do is look at it a different way, which is a proper football development way, which was Palace is doing, what Bournemouth is doing. By the way, Chelsea are doing the same thing. It's building a solid infrastructure of a team, not changing your system week in, week out, because your players can't play system A. Like in my coaching book, I've got where's my coaching book? Oh, here it is. Move past overlap, which is one of my philosophies. Team shape. 11v11. Playing out of the back. No, what we plan A. There we go. Plan A. Guess what we do? More of plan A. Yeah, yeah. You don't have a plan B. You just do plan A better. Why isn't plan A working? Find out. Fix it. Plan A. Do plan A better. They can sign less known players. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brighton are very, very good at this. That's why Brighton are always sort of this mid-table team. Brighton's aspirations aren't to get into the Champions League. It's very, very strange. And I think they also know if they do, they'll end up like Newcastle. You can't be a yo-yo team. You can't, because when you get into a yo-yo team, you go, and then all of a sudden, as high as you go up is as low as you can go down. And you can yo-yo all the way out of the Premier League. I think Brighton are quite happy to finish mid-table every season and sell 3 players to Chelsea for 70 million and 1 to Liverpool for 120 million and go, yay, we're profitable. I think they're quite happy to do that, and they don't do it. They just think like, I'll tell you what it is. It's PlayStation brain. They play too many video games. They play too many video games, and they think that I played Championship Manager, and when I did this system and I changed it every week, we won football games. It's not how it works in the real life. Not how it works. Yeah, in English Dortmund. I would just say no, maybe not, because Dortmund do challenge for the title every now and again. I think Dortmund, like they're every now and again, once every sort of 4 years, they're in the Champions League or they're pushing there. Brighton aren't there. Brighton aren't really that team. But one team that's going to get battered, I think, tomorrow night. I think the score's going to be 4-1 to Real Madrid. That's my prediction. And here's the funny thing: 5 minutes into the game, I'll be able to tell you what the real score will be. But here's a classic example of not changing your system. Okay, and there's more to this, by the way. I'm going to keep talking about this because it's so important. You saw Unai Emery at Aston Villa not change his system against Liverpool. It cost him the game. But he's also won 4 in a row because of his system. And he knows going away to Anfield, chances are he's going to lose. If you ask him, am I expected to beat Liverpool at Anfield? No. Okay. So why am I going to change my system and all the hard work we've done for 4 weeks playing it? Why am I going to undo that by us going back to a way that now we'll have to take 4 more games for us to get out of the bad habits that we just put into that one game to get 3 points? We're not going to get relegated. We don't care. But because we get better at this system, next time we go there, we've got a really good, solid chance of beating them. Because if you watch that game with Villa against Liverpool, Villa ripped Liverpool apart for the first 25, 30 minutes. Every time they passed the ball into midfield, Villa ran down and had a shot on goal. It could have been very, very different. Very different. Liverpool got lucky because Villa slipped up right before half-time with the keeper. If they hadn't, I wouldn't be surprised if Villa won that game. And that's the real difference. The short-sightedness will go, Liverpool, well, we could get a point. A good manager like Unai Emery goes, I couldn't care less, because the way we're playing enabled me to win 4, and now, yeah, we're going to... If you ask him, is he going to lose against Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City away, he'll probably go, yeah, probably. But because we're playing this system, it means we'll beat Everton away, we'll beat Forest away, we'll beat Sunderland away, we'll beat Leeds, we'll beat Burnley, because we're playing this way. And we're good at it. And that's why you won't change for one game, because it'll take so many more games to fix your team again, to get back to the good football that they were playing. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah. Oh, sorry, my throat's just raw. Absolutely raw. I might have to cut it early, guys. My throat's killing me. Falling apart. Forgot to mention no red cards. Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention no red cards for Chelsea. That's a first, isn't it? Yeah, that's very unbelievable for Chelsea. Let's just have a little look as well, though, because I do want to check on one little thing. Because if we do stop it early, I can go and watch the second half of the Sunderland-Everton game. I might do that, boys and girls. I might do that. The other interesting game I think was well worth watching tomorrow night is PSG against Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich might win the Champions League, by the way. I have a really good, funny suspicion. And I want to see what they do against PSG. Because Bayern Munich have put some good components together. They're looking pretty scary. No, I haven't, buddy. I've just... it's just because I'm so dehydrated. It's just the whole back of my throat's just, raw. That's all it is. Yeah. I normally drink a certain amount of water bottles a day, and for the last sort of 4 days, I haven't. So I'm just really dehydrated. I'm just getting to the point where I'm doing too much and fighting copyright things on the old YouTube. And then I beat those, and then they hit me with something else and said, oh, yeah, this isn't what you think it is. It's a different one. I'm like, oh, right. Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, YouTube. Yeah. Thank you, algorithm. We love you. Yeah. Kind of hilarious. But, yeah. Oh, I know there's a bunch of other things I wanted to talk about. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. I can't believe West Ham were the ones that beat Newcastle, by the way. That's kind of... Wolverhampton sacking their manager. This is another classic example. Okay? So Wolves sacked their manager. Let's look at what's happened to the manager. He's had his best players taken away from him. So he was playing a system, playing his way, and then the people that helped him win those football games gets taken away from him, and now he has to start again. You think Real Madrid? I don't think Real Madrid. I don't think Real Madrid are a good team. I think Real Madrid can beat everybody except for the good teams. I don't think they'd beat Arsenal. I don't think they'd beat PSG. Don't think they'd beat Bayern Munich. I think Real Madrid can score, and they've got fantastic attacking flair players. Let's talk a little bit about Real Madrid. I watched Real Madrid a couple of times, and you watch them play, right? When they have the ball, they're absolutely brilliant. Every single one of their players in midfield will probably start for any team in the Premier League and be the best player in the on that team. Their midfield is brilliant. Any one of their players would be better than any, they just are. They're just brilliant. Oh, I've got some... Vinicius Jr., I was watching him play, right? That's what I wanted to talk about. Boom, boom, boom. I was watching them play Valencia, and the amount of diving inside the box Real Madrid do is unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. They were looking for maybe 6 penalty shouts in the game, at least. The whole team is geared up just to run into the box and take a flop. And that's where I think they'll struggle against a quality side defensively like Arsenal or PSG or Bayern Munich. They're actually solid and actually know how to defend properly. Someone like a Liverpool, their left and right backs will dive in. They could give away 2 penalties tomorrow quite easily, just because they're going to dive in on how quick Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. are, and they dive all the time. They're looking for it. I think Vinicius Jr. is a spoiled child. I think he ran off in the El Clasico just because he can't accept losing. Losing is one of the hardest things to learn. Like, When you learn to lose and you learn what it's about, then you can actually be a true winner. Like, you can be upset with losing, but you still have to be gracious in defeat. If you're not gracious in defeat, it's doesn't mean you have to be happy with it. And there's another level of it as well. When you're on camera as much as they are, you need to really be smart about it, because every little thing that you do is being looked at, and you can't really act certain ways. Goes on to that Spurs player who didn't shake his manager's hand, and the manager was like trying to back the player. The manager's a coward, absolute coward. I would throw my player under the bus for that. Absolutely throw him under the bus for that. I'm in charge. You don't get to start next week. Not interested in your excuses. I put my hand out there and you ignored me. You don't do that. Ever. Sit on the bench, mate. That's what you do. And that's what I'd probably do to Vinicius Jr. if he did that as well. I would have just sat him on the bench. I don't think it's a jealousy thing with Mbappe. I think they're quite... I'm not sure. When you're at that level, and I think if it was in the first year of Mbappe being there last year, I think, yeah, maybe, but not now. It's a little bit different. Yeah, well, I wouldn't care. Like, I wouldn't care. I know what you're saying, but I wouldn't care. If they back the player, I wouldn't care. And I would make it quite frankly, if he's disrespecting me, he's disrespecting the football club. If he's disrespecting the football club, he's disrespecting the fans. I'm an extension of the fans on the field. I'm putting his hand out to say good game. And he just snubbed the fans. That's what I'd say. And all the fans would go, yeah, manager, yeah. And just point out, players like him will come and go, but I will not have him disrespect the football club, the managers, or the fans. He puts on that shirt. He does the job for us. Win or lose, be proud of wearing that shirt. Yeah, it's so easy to make a statement to get the fans on your side. So easy. Yeah, that's all you have to say. Something simple. What else was I going to talk about? Yeah, I think Thomas Frank doesn't have the stomach for it, though. He really doesn't. The problem is I've got this little list here of stuff that I want to talk about, but it's got so big I can't remember what week it's from. Oh, I did want to talk about Forest set pieces because I'm doing a big video on this. It's set pieces and second balls. Yeah, I want to watch Sunderland though. I don't want to. Yeah, I want to go and see how they're doing against Everton. I really do. I'm just pulling up the stats quickly and seeing what's going on. Sunderland seem like they got 61% possession. No shots on target for Sunderland though. That doesn't see stats don't paint a picture. They do not. No, don't you tell me that. Don't you tell me that. No. Oh, you're ruining my night now. I do still think Sunderland... Right, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Sunderland are going to beat Newcastle because Newcastle are so caught up in the Champions League. And remember all the nonsense that was going on in the pre-season with Isaac and all that drama and the saga and all that nonsense. They're sitting there, worried about all these strikers coming in, the players they couldn't get. And Sunderland just going, we're going to get you, Newcastle. Newcastle like, oh, we're in the Champions League. Oh, what? Who's our new striker? Where's our old striker gone? And they're looking at all these things. And Sunderland are going, we're going to get you, Newcastle. And Newcastle have got they're not going to be ready for that game. And all Sunderland are doing in the off-season is going, we're going to get you, Newcastle. We're going to get you. And they're just too busy. They have no idea. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah, Vodemir is a good replacement. Yeah. I think he's a good player, but also I think any striker that they put in would have been good. Oh, yeah. Oh, can't wait. I can't wait. And I can't wait for the excuse. By the way, this is what could happen. Right? Think about what I was saying about Eddie Howe, okay? And he'll get fired, right? Imagine Sunderland beat them, right? And then in the next part of the season, Sunderland beat them again, and that's when they fire Eddie Howe. That will be funny. What? Why have you got 5 at the back? What? No. See, that's just annoying me now. That's just annoying me. Yeah, Voldemade is a very good player, but also I think any player would have been good for Newcastle. The way Newcastle was set up to feed a striker, they do create chances. Like an Ollie Watkins would have been just as good, if not better, for him. I think Voldemade is a good player, but he's got a bit of what I would say Darwin Núñez about him, right? In the fact that when Darwin Núñez came in for Liverpool, he did really well for the first up until Christmas. He was doing great. If you looked at his stats, he was better than Suarez for goals and assists on his first, like, whatever it was. And then he fell off a cliff. Absolutely fell off a cliff. So, the first sort of little bit of the player playing that we're going to see after the Christmas break, we're going to have a look at that Voltemeda and see what he is after he plays through all those games. Oh, he's got good link-up play. He's got good feet, though. He's got better feet than Crouchy. And Crouchy had good feet. I've got a Crouchy shirt. I don't even know why I have it. I've got a Peter Crouch shirt that he wore in a game. I don't even know how I got that, but I've got it. That's the thing. Yeah. I've got a signed Dennis Bergkamp. I've got so much. I used to have so much stuff. Signed Dennis Bergkamp shirt. I had a shirt with the original Galacticos on it with Figo, Beckham, Zidane, the real Ronaldo. Casillas, everyone, Raul, everyone had signed it. I don't mind Thomas. No, I don't mind Tuchel travelling around on the FA's money. That's exactly what he should do. The FA have a lot of money and they waste it on some of these referees. I mean, to me, that's a good spend. That is a really, really good spend. So I just keep flicking over at the score of Sunderland Everton. Keep flicking over. No, I don't have them anymore. I don't have them anymore. I know where they are, but I don't have them anymore. I had a Pele shirt, a Maradona shirt. I had a Portugal shirt with all the Portugal team and Ronaldo signed across the front of it. I had a Barcelona shirt with Eto'o, Ronaldinho, and all the players, and this little 17-year-old signature in the bottom corner called Messi. Have you heard of him? Yeah. Oh, one thing I did. Oh, this can be my last thing, guys. And then I'm going to sign off. I do want to bring this up though. Did anybody hear about the supposedly it's his sports agent holding a player at gunpoint? No, Bobby Charlton. Nope. Nope. Holding a player at gunpoint in London, and it turns out it was his sports agent trying to hold him hostage. That sounds an interesting story that I might have to follow up on. Apparently, it was in the Sun, and apparently it was connected to an English international worth 60 million. And this is how bad the reporting is. What? The player is worth 60 million? Is his like net worth? That's how much money he's got, or does the player have 60 million? Yeah, he needs to. He needs to stop the 5 at the back, change it up. Yeah. I mean, like the couple of games I saw Sunderland playing well, Sunderland were just going at the teams. Oh my god, it does sound like a Nigerian movie, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, here's the other part about it. This is why I wanted to talk about that gunpoint in London with sports agents, because do you remember Luis? Was it Luis Diaz? They held his father hostage in Uruguay. Was it Uruguay? I can't remember where Luis Diaz is from. And that's always been a thing, by the way. There's been a lot of that over the years, but they've never let it creep into the they've never let it creep into like the mainstream, except for like the Luis Diaz incident. It's slowly getting into the lexicon now of that people footballers are getting held hostage, and that's the thing to get money. What was the word? That was the worst half of football. Oh no. No, no. Oh, don't do this to me, Sunderland. I need you to win. Come on. Come on. There's a couple of teams that I want to get knocked out of the top four. Come on. Come on, Sunderland. Don't do what Forest did to me last season. I need you to be there. What is that? Oh. I just found a thing that I can do. I should really pay attention. I just put a poll in the chat, I think, but I don't know if it worked. 100% yes, it's working. Brilliant. I was expecting some of you to say no because it'd be funny. Yeah, it's just so I can put polls in the chat and ask questions, so I can have like a couple of things going at the same time. Didn't even know I could do that, but now I do. You know, I'm gonna do more things there, boys. More things there. Oh yeah, so let me finish this thing about the agents. It wasn't ever getting really into mainstream media about agents or people being. They did it with Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo, back I think when he was at Inter Milan, and it's called ruined his career a bit, where they're trying to kidnap his family. And Jack Grealish has found his level. Everton, yeah, that's his level. Yep, yep. And I do believe that it's going to happen more and more when these gang members suddenly realise that they can hold players hostages or their family members hostage and extort money out of the footballers. I have a feeling it's going to become more and more prominent when it's because they do it quite a lot in Brazil and in Argentina and places like that, but it's never really leaked into the Premier League. Over into sort of, it's been in Europe, it's been in Italy, but it's with England falling apart as a country, I can see it happening more and more. And the amount of money Premier League footballers make is such a target. Yeah, the Italian mafia doesn't like snitches. Yeah, don't worry, I'm all on the side of the Italian mafia. I've got a buddy. I'll give him a call. I actually just do a name drop right at the end before I leave the stream. Search up my Italian buddy. He's Salvatore Ferragamo. Yeah. Go look that billionaire up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I have a feeling it's an easy targets away from home. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like it's I think it's going to escalate in the next couple of years. It's something that was never really a problem, but the amount of money and just think if you kidnapped a player and just said, "Yeah, I just want 2 weeks' wages," it's $250,000. You're set for life. You're done. Out. Gone. You know how many? Here's the other part. I wonder how many times it's happened and we've not heard about it, right? Because we're hearing about these ones. That means there's probably 20 or 30 other times it's happened and we've not heard about it. And you'll probably have to wait for those players to retire and then they'll tell us the truth. So I can have a feeling it's going to come out soon and there's going to be a lot of stuff about it. So they're always wearing expensive jewelry. Oh yeah, because there's that thing I don't know if you know in New York where people are going outside of expensive restaurants and they're just robbing them at gunpoint on motorbikes, taking their watches off, just taking their watches, rings, and cell phones. And if they're doing that in New York, I'm sure they're going to do that in Cheddar or wherever these footballers eat. Shoe company, yes. Have a look at his net worth. Shoe company. He used to make all the suits for. He still makes the suits, I think, for AC Milan. If he makes the suits for AC Milan, he owns a couple of villages in Italy, and you have that amount of money and you're in Italy. Who are you? Yeah, it's amazing the people I know. It just depends where you are in the world and what circles you bump into. It's nothing special, like honestly. I've got yeah. But other than that, is there any other topics? No. I still want to go on a deep rant. I'm going to do a better video on it, on that Goldbridge and Steinenberger thing, and explain it a little bit better. I can think about it more. But other than that, guys, I'm going to sign out. I'll see you next time.